When I married Robert, I never imagined how much my life would change. I was in my mid-50s, divorced for several years, and enjoying the quiet pace of semi-retirement. Robert was kind, generous, and 10 years older than me. We met at a charity fundraiser, and it wasn't long before his warm personality and sincere heart won me over. He had 2 grown children, and through them several grandchildren, most of whom I met at a family barbecue shortly after our engagement. That's when I first met Evan, his step-grandson from his daughter's second marriage. Evan was 26 at the time, charming and full of life. He had a magnetic energy, the kind of presence that filled a room without trying. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I was simply meeting the extended family and trying to find my place in this new chapter. Robert and I married in a small, beautiful ceremony. Life was peaceful. I spent my days tending the garden, volunteering at the local library, and enjoying dinners with Robert. Evan visited occasionally, and over the next 2 years I got to know him more. He'd stop by for lunch, help with minor house repairs, or just talk about his plans. I thought of him as family. I thought of him like one would a stepson or perhaps a nephew. But something shifted one summer afternoon. Robert had gone to visit his brother in Arizona for a few weeks. The heat was unbearable, and I had chosen to stay behind. One Saturday, Evan stopped by unexpectedly. He said he was nearby and wanted to check on me. I appreciated the gesture, especially since the kitchen faucet had started leaking, and I had no idea how to fix it. He offered to help, and we ended up chatting in the kitchen over lemonade and music from the radio. That day, something unspoken lingered in the air. His glances held longer. His jokes carried a different edge. I dismissed it. I had to be imagining it. He was just being friendly. But deep down I felt it. Change. A warning. As the days went on, Evan began texting more often. Harmless things. Asking if I needed groceries. Offering to bring over dinner. I felt flattered but confused. One evening, he brought over a lasagna he said he'd made himself. We watched a movie in the living room. When the credits rolled, he reached over, took my hand, and looked at me in a way that sent chills down my spine. I pulled away immediately and asked him to leave. He apologized profusely, saying he'd misunderstood, that he thought there was a connection. I told him I was married to his grandfather and that whatever he thought this was, it wasn't appropriate. He left without another word. I spent the next few days trying to shake the discomfort. I didn't tell Robert. I told myself it was better to just let it go. Evan had made a mistake, and I believed he would correct himself. But I was wrong. 2 weeks later he came again. This time with flowers, apologizing again. He said he was confused, that he had feelings he couldn't control, and that being around me made him forget logic. I told him firmly that this had to stop. I was not going to entertain this behavior. I asked him never to come to my house uninvited again. I thought that would be the end of it. But then came the betrayal. One night I received a message from an unknown number. It was a video. I opened it cautiously. What I saw made my knees buckle. It was footage from a hidden camera, inside my own house. My living room. Evan was there, holding the camera, talking about how I had led him on, and how he could prove that I wasn't as innocent as I pretended to be. I was horrified. He had recorded our conversations, selectively edited them, and added his commentary to make it seem like I was flirting with him. In the video, he played the victim, claiming I had seduced him. My hands trembled as I watched, each second cutting deeper than the last. The betrayal wasn't just personal. It was calculated, malicious. The next day, I confronted him. I called, shaking, heart pounding, and demanded to know why he would do something so vile. He didn't deny it. He said he needed to protect himself, in case I ever accused him of anything. He said he was just being cautious. He laughed. He mocked me. That's when I realized this wasn't about feelings. This wasn't about confusion or affection. This was about power, control. He wanted to manipulate me, and when I didn't give in, he tried to destroy my integrity. I finally told Robert. Every detail. every visit, every message. I showed him the video. His face turned gray. At first, he didn't want to believe it. But the evidence was undeniable. He was heartbroken, humiliated, and enraged. Evan was banned from our home. Robert's daughter tried to intervene, saying Evan was just young and confused. But Robert stood firm. His disappointment in his stepgrandson was beyond repair. I reported the incident to the police. Although no physical harm was done, the invasion of privacy, the unauthorized surveillance, and the emotional distress were grounds for legal action. Evan was questioned, and his devices were seized. I filed a restraining order. The case dragged on for months. But eventually, Evan faced consequences for his actions. He was fined, ordered to undergo counseling, and required to stay away from me permanently. Even with justice served, the emotional scars didn't fade easily. I found myself plagued with anxiety. I stopped volunteering. I double-checked every door and window at night. The betrayal didn't just break my trust in Evan, it shattered my sense of safety in my own home. Robert and I began therapy together. We needed to rebuild not just trust in each other but our sense of unity. He felt guilt for bringing Evan into my life. I felt guilt for not speaking up sooner. But over time we healed. Slowly, carefully, we began to find our rhythm again. Looking back now, I wish I had trusted my instincts that very first afternoon when Evan's behavior shifted. I wish I hadn't tried to protect his image or my own peace of mind by staying silent. Because silence allowed the danger to grow. It gave him space to manipulate the narrative. But this story isn't just about pain. It's about survival. It's about finding strength when you feel most broken. And it's a reminder that betrayal can come from the most unexpected places. It can wear the face of family, the tone of charm, and the mask of affection. But no matter how it's dressed, betrayal is still betrayal. I now speak out not because I want pity, but because I want others, especially women who might be in vulnerable situations, to know that their intuition matters, that their voice matters, and that no one, no matter how close, has the right to cross boundaries or manipulate truth. Evan was family, but family doesn't give anyone a free pass to hurt you. Today, Robert and I are stronger than ever. We've learned to be more honest, more open, and more vigilant. Our home is a sanctuary again, and we no longer live under the shadow of fear. We've built new memories to replace the painful ones. But I'll never forget how one person's selfish actions nearly tore apart everything we had built. And I will never stop sharing this story, because silence is what abusers rely on. But truth can set you free. Certainly did for me.